Hello and good evening and welcome to episode 7 of Sketching Wildlife, and thank you so much for your contributions to the series so far, for your comments and suggestions and for your questions, especially that most pressing of all: how do we deal with left eye block? It's an artistic issue the world over, and we'll be coming to that in a tutorial later in the series. But for now, I've put up a summary of our quick fix dextral twinning in the comments section on our last video, the ubiquitous fly. So do please check that out. Now, the request this time comes from Helen, and Helen asks, can we help her with the enormity of the hippopotamus? Thank you, Helen, for injecting some exoticism into the series. One of the three great land animals, the hippopotamus still bears its original Greek name, as used by Pliny the Elder in the 1st century AD. And literally translated, it means the horse of the river. Now, doesn't it seem extraordinary that a people so famed for their equestrianism, for their skill and discrimination in horsecraft, for their horse mythology, the immortal horses of the Trojan kings, Pegasus, that they would lend this precious epithet to an animal so unwilling and unable to carry the saddle? It conjures up distressing imagery of miserable and depressed hippos lumbering through a series of unsuccessful half-steps in the dressage arena, or mad with fury and shame tossing little Penelope high into the rafters of the Thebes gymkhana. But there's a footnote to Pliny, because if we consult the original text, we will see that he's replaced the ironic hippopotamus with a far more apt and descriptive, bearing in mind this is a very ferocious animal, Sumaricon thanatos, the dumpling of death. Oh history, why did you not listen? What would we not give to hear the whispering tones of Sir David Attenborough describe a scene for us within which exists the death dumpling? Now, Pliny was familiar with hippos from North Africa, all now long gone, as are the 3 European species, as are the dwarf hippos of Madagascar. Hippos are even-toed ungulates. They're related to deer, camels and pigs, and yet, their nearest living relatives are cetaceans, whales and dolphins. Who knew? How extraordinary. They have webbed feet. They have nostrils, eyes and ears perched high on their heads, perfectly adapted to their aquatic existence. And you might think that they would be superb swimmers, but no, they're useless. They just bounce along the riverbed like some huge aquatic novelty balloon. And with that image vivid in our minds, we'll begin. And we'll start, as always, with that essential left eye. Now, with an animal of this bulk and of this size, it's absolutely crucial that this is perfect. Because in an act of artistic synecdoche, we have to encapsulate the whole of the animal into this eye. We're past pushing camels through the eyes of needles. We are forcing hippos into their own left eyes. It's straining. It's trying to escape. Be brave, be bold, persevere, restrain and complete. And exhausted, all we can manage is a throwaway right before we work on the massive skull of the animal, the huge jaws, this magnificent beast, the high perched nostrils and ears, and then the massive bulk of the body. Don't rush. Let the biro do the work. Let the flow of organic naturalness simply emerge. Don't forget the tail. And we're there. But are we? No. Context. Context, as we always say. And here's the riverbed. Stony with large aggregate. An animal joyful in the habitat for which it is so perfectly adapted, with friends and fish. It's perfect. A moment of ecological plenitude. And here, surely, Helen, we have all that we need together to say, that's nature. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.